Hey everybody, Marcus C. Williams here, and I just wanted to wish you all a happy Easter and talk a little bit about the ways that we should put our community first, being that our city of Rochester has had elected officials for decades that very much so only prioritize themselves and let our community and our people languish. I'm about tired of it, frankly. And that's why this year I'm pushing to create a new line called the Community First line on the ballot, because I believe that our community should be prioritized because we need to unite together to actually get what we need addressed by our local elected officials. I know there are many distractions that a lot of elected officials want to sell you. They'll say, oh, look over here, we're doing this thing over here. But does that really address the issues in our community that we need to address? We look at the failures in housing policy, the rents are through the roof. They've continued to increase the assessments and stuff like that. That's not okay. That's not beneficial for our citizens. Maybe it benefits a few investors and stuff like that, but overall, it doesn't benefit our citizens. So it's a facade. We see the issues with the houses that are going $150,000 over asking. How is that sustainable for anybody that is a Rochesterian that has lived here either all their life or has lived here long term? It's putting housing out of reach for the majority of our community, and it's not okay. But this shows you 100% that our elected officials are completely disconnected from us as citizens. And that's why I'm fighting to get this community first line as an independent line on the ballot this year. But I need your help. And in order to do that, we have to collect about 2,000 signatures in the next 25 days to get this line on the ballot. I need your help. Go on my website, Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com, and volunteer to help me collect signatures or make phone calls, whatever you can do. You can even donate on my website. That's Marcus, the number 4, Rochester.com. Because it's about time that we united as a citizenry. We're a whole bunch of different citizens with a whole bunch of different backgrounds in a whole bunch of different neighborhoods with different life experiences. But there's a lot of commonality between us all. We believe that the quality of education needs to be improved to create opportunities for the children and the youth. We believe that the government should actually, on the local level, on the city council level, should be fostering small business and entrepreneurship because we know that that gives people the best option to create generational wealth and thrive. Small businesses are also the number one employer in the nation. But what's happened on the city council level is they focused on courting large industry from other states and other parts of the country, which never seemed to materialize. Look at the issues with photonics. Whatever happened with that? What did they end up making, like 7 or was it 14 full-time jobs and about 20 part-time jobs? That's not a joke. That's a real thing. You can go look that up. I can't remember the numbers exactly, but it's not far off. And that costs us hundreds of millions of dollars invested that just poof, disappeared out of our community. Not putting reinvestment into our community, not really creating jobs, and not really doing too much of anything, but serving the elected officials. And this is part of a very serious, continual issue. And it's unacceptable. David, I see you there. I agree. Our government has failed us completely and thoroughly, especially on the local level. I've lived in Rochester most of my life. I went from elementary school all the way through high school and college in our area. Okay. What is going on here? What is going on here? All I've seen is the continued deterioration of pretty much every neighborhood. I wouldn't even say that the crime and the drugs isn't affecting the most, what we would consider to be the traditionally affluent neighborhoods. You look at Monroe Avenue. Monroe Avenue has been devastated. Park Avenue in the East End, you know, it's bad. It's bad, bad everywhere, even Highland, and this is these are issues that need to be addressed by our elected officials, our city council people every single day. So you're right, David. The government has failed us, and that's why I'm pushing to create this community first line on the ballot this year. Nobody's coming to save us, you guys. But that's why I'm working hard and diligently to present real opportunity and options for us to unite so that we can thrive as a community again. They're stealing away our future from us on a daily basis. And it's like nobody is willing to address what's going on at all. I don't have to tell you that the schools are absolutely terrible. I'm sure that many of you know, even though some would like to say, oh, it's not as bad as it seems, it's just a 65% graduation rate. Okay. Well, a 65% used to be a failing grade. That's a D or even an F, depending on what grading rubric you're working on, because there were never any E's, So 65% graduation rate, that's terrible. And then a vast majority of the people that were graduating are not proficient in reading, writing, or math. I had to hire many times people that are entry level workers, okay, for entry level jobs, the everyman job, the job that anybody can do. But it required basic math skills, addition and subtraction. And I'm telling you this from personal experience. Most of these youth that are getting out of high school right now are not able to do basic math, and you can forget reading and reading comprehension. That's just a fact. Talk to some people that work in the schools. I'm not making this up. This is from direct experience and talking to interviewing hundreds of graduates. This is a serious issue. You may have seen on the TV in a couple of other states. I believe Maryland is one, and I can't remember the other place. I believe it's Boston. I'm almost sure it's Boston. But they've got students that are going to college that are suing the school districts now because they can't read and can't write. But that's something that's ever so common here in our backyard, right in Rochester. Is the city council doing something to address that? Are they creating alternative education options? No. Are they creating a systematic set of ways that people can get put into jobs, even if they're not able to have the origin of the skills, but they can learn the skills and create some sort of pathway into an actual job or career? No, they're not doing that either. This is serious. There are simple things that we can work on that'll have real tangible effects. I see you there, Kevin, and I see you there, Miss McKnight. I'm going to pop your comment up in a second. This is very serious, what we have going on here right now. We see the issue with the crime and the violence and the lack of structure. There's no structure in our city. The schools don't have any structure. There's no discipline there. The streets don't have any structure. There's no discipline or structure there when it comes to crime. The criminals just run amok and do whatever they want, and city council ignores it. But in the meantime, our city is now full of people that are impacted by crime or victims of crime. And this is really serious because who's going to address that? Who's concerned about our actual victims? They're not addressing these issues. Why? This is serious. Kevin says, what do you say, Kevin? We need more police officers. It's sad that people do not want to join the RPD force. Well, in the current atmosphere, why would you want to join the police? That's another issue that city council is not addressing. People don't want to join the police. Why don't they want to join the police? Because they see people on city council dragging the police. We unfortunately saw our mayor and the police chief get up and drag our police. Do you think that that's encouraging to the community? We have a lot of people in the community that say, oh, we want more people that look like us on the police force. We want people that live in the city of Rochester to join the police force. Nobody wants to join the police force because the police force are always getting ragged on by our elected officials. They've disincentivized policing completely. And then we wonder why the police are leaving or retiring early and nobody wants to go out and be officers. If we want safe streets, we need officers that feel supported by our elected officials. That's just a fact. We need a community that believes that if they go out and they apply to be police officers, that the elected officials in our area aren't going to treat them like trash. These are very serious needs that, like, we all need public safety. I put up a video earlier where there was this unfortunate lady who is a drug addict prostitute on Lyle that somebody had shared with me. And she's strung out and she's fighting with what I can only imagine are other prostitutes in the middle of the street on Lyle, right over there by the old Christian school. Okay. This is serious. This is stuff that we see in life every day. And people are like, why doesn't somebody call the police? First off, what can the police do? And secondly, isn't that what the PIC team and the person in crisis team and all these other teams that are non-law enforcement that the city has put in place? Complete failure. Complete failure. And they'll say, oh, well, they're working and they've done things and stuff. Yes, they have done things and stuff, but still the everyday issues seem to continue. You make it make sense. So either there's not enough investment in those things, or they're not functionally working the way that they should, and the results are being trumped up. That doesn't mean that I'm saying to get rid of anything. I'm just saying that it's very clear that there is a disconnect between what we're seeing in the community and what we're being sold by city council. Let's see. Ms. McKnight says, look at all the money that ESL has given to Rochester, but I look at all the things that they're doing with it, and I don't see where it's going to help any of our communities, the youth, small businesses, and even nonprofit businesses and churches that have been so dedicated to our people, but never recognized or given a grant to help increase support for the communities. That's very serious. It's exactly the issue that we're having right now. And I encourage you, if you guys are concerned about the direction of our city, please go on my website and volunteer to help out with my campaign. We're working on creating this community first line on the ballot this year as I run for city council, so that we can put the focus on our community and on our community issues. Like Ms. McKnight just laid out a ton of them right there in her statement. These are real things that are not being addressed by our city council. We deserve to be represented, but it's very clear that they're only really representing their benefactors, their own personal best interests, and what puts money in their pockets and their offshore accounts. But can we talk about that? No. I want to restore hope to our community, because I believe that there is, it's not even a belief, it's very visible to everyone. I'm sure you see it too. You look outside, you talk to people, nothing but despair. People feel downtrodden. They feel full of despair and fear and concern for the future. And they don't know if there's any stability or anything like that, because our city council has not cultivated that. But they'll tell us that everything is fine and we don't need to worry about anything. It's a complete farce, because it's clear that they're not focusing on us. And it's clear that, like Ms. McKnight said, where's all the money that's gone from these investments? Where is it? Where's the money? What is it being invested into? Because clearly, us as average citizens, we see them presenting big checks and putting on lists that they gave out these millions of dollars. Where is the impact? Like, we put millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. I believe it was $23 million we got from the state last year for homelessness. And then the city put in like a couple million or something like that. I might be off on the amount or where the money came from, but I know it was over 30 something million dollars that came in to address the homelessness issues. Homelessness is worse than I've ever seen it in my life. In my life. Honestly, it's almost worse than anything I've ever seen in my life, all the years previous combined. It's skyrocketing and it goes unaddressed. They'll try to clean it up in nice neighborhoods and sweep it away. Anybody that's been in Rochester for a while might remember when Spectrum was Time Warner, right where that hill is on Time Warner, where Spectrum is now. They used to have a whole encampment of the homeless. That was where the majority of the homeless in the city lived. They were all right there, chilling, you know? And at that point, everybody knew it. It wasn't a big issue. They were there, they mind their business, whatever the case is. And I'm not saying that that was a good thing. I'm just saying that these were facts. Okay. And then they decided to build those high price lofts right there next to Dinosaur Barbecue. And they kicked all of the indigent and homeless people out. Was that a proper prioritization? Well, you know what they did with them? They put all the homeless people over here in my neighborhood. Our neighborhood was already struggling with crime, drugs, and up and coming prostitution. I mean, we're not Lyle, but geez, it's getting real pretty not good. Yeah, and that's me putting it nice because we're on the internet. I got some other more colorful things to say about it that aren't so pleasant. But these are the realities that we're dealing with. And now you see them sweep encampments all over the place. Just like it doesn't exist. I was walking downtown earlier today, and this homeless lady was sitting on one of the steam vents, and it was a wretched smell and horrible. But it shows you that she's trying to survive how she can. Now, I must make clear that not all of the people that are homeless or strung out or have mental issues want to be in homes. They don't. But if we don't start addressing the reason that many of these people are becoming homeless to begin with, like the continued increase in rent, I've never seen so many homeless families before. This is a new phenomena. I've never seen so many homeless white young men. This is a new phenomena. Okay. These are serious issues because the costs of rents keep going up, up, and up, and up. And as we mentioned, it's hard to buy a home when people are paying $150,000 over asking. Do you know why that is? I'll tell you why that is. Because City Council authorized a couple years ago $15,000 for anybody that'll remote work and live in Rochester. Remote work and live in Rochester. Now, I've owned businesses in Rochester for years. They never gave my employees $15,000 for working in the city of Rochester and living in the city of Rochester. Did they give you $15,000? They never give me $15,000 for just operating a business and employing people in the city of Rochester. Is this something that we can have a real conversation about? $15,000 to move to Rochester and work remotely. Now we know that most of the remote jobs are easily taken over by AI and computers. So where's the sustainability in that? But you put our citizens' money into bringing people from other places into this city to work remotely, which means that the companies that they're working for are not in our city and they're not even putting into our economy. And you know, if somebody works remotely, they're generally not the type of people that are going to go out very often. And how could you even really go out in Rochester with the way that the crime and everything is? Another issue that we need to address. Let's see. Let me get to some of these comments. I want to make sure if you guys are commenting, I address the comments. Let's see. We got another comment here. I think somebody's commenting, trying to talk about national issues. That's what we're not doing. Okay. I know. Listen, if you guys are commenting and we're talking about national issues, that's not what we're doing. We're talking about local issues. Okay. So I'll post your comment if it's related to local issues, not if it's about federal issues or about anything else that's going on in our country, because we need to focus here locally at home. It's a very, very serious issue that we have going on here. Okay. That's the raw end of it. Okay. David says, Thank God for people like you. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm visiting my brother Jeffrey, and he told me that he used to work with you. Oh man, that's awesome. Send my love. Okay, I appreciate that. I'm fighting hard to make a real difference in our community. That means a lot to me. It really, really does. I'm doing everything that I can to help better our community and plan for a future where we can all unite and thrive together. But in order to do that, I need your guys' help. I need you guys to volunteer so we can collect these signatures that we need to get on the ballot. We've only got a couple more weeks and we got to get all these 2,000 signatures. It doesn't matter what party you're with, what your party affiliation, as long as you're registered to vote. It doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, independent, working family. We can use your help to volunteer to collect signatures, because the signatures can be collected from anybody that's registered in a party as long as they live in the city of Rochester. And as long as you're registered to vote in New York State, even if you're in like one of the suburbs of Rochester or from anywhere else in New York State, you can help us carry petitions to collect signatures in the city of Rochester. So please go to my website and volunteer. Marcus the number 4 Rochester.com. That's Marcus the number 4 Rochester.com, because we're fighting to make this happen, because we've got to come together on the issues that we all agree on, like the crime, like the housing issues, like the education issues, like the economic development. And it feels repetitious saying all of these things again and again, but it just kind of shows you how they're continually being not addressed and ignored by our city council. And that's their job. That's legitimately their job, is to represent us. So the question is, what have they been doing? You know, when I see them go out there and sell the properties in the city for $1 to developers and stuff like that, and then on top of the fact that they sold it to them for $1, they give them tax abatements where they don't have to pay any taxes. That doesn't make much sense to me. You got $1 million projects and nobody's paying any money. Nobody's paying any taxes, but us as citizens have to pay taxes. That doesn't make sense. Now, if you followed me for some time, or if you're new here, you might have heard me talk about the reason why that there should be no income tax and that there should be no property tax. But if the big boys don't have to pay property tax, why should you have to pay property tax? Isn't everybody all tax the rich and tax the wealthy and stuff? Isn't that what's popular right now? But right here in our backyard, in our front yard even, there are developers that are paying no taxes on the properties that they own that are worth millions of dollars. But if you're a small homeowner, if you own a couple of properties, you got to pay taxes. And they just raised your assessment. Then they trotted out last year how, oh, well, we should do something about the assessments. No, don't play in our face. You authorized those assessments to be raised to begin with. You didn't need to authorize that. That never needed to happen at all. So my solution when elected is to allow you to choose to revert your property value back to the way that it was previously in your previous assessment, or keep the new one. But your house should not be judged based off of somebody paying extra $150,000 over asking in your neighborhood when you bought your house for $45,000 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not okay. And this is happening all over our city. So I lived in the 19th ward the vast majority of my life. Okay. Homes that were $75,000, $80,000 legitimately 5-10 years ago, not even, are now going for $150,000 asking, and selling for 210, 225. How is that sustainable? You explain it to me. Make it make real good sense, like I'm 5, okay? Because this doesn't make any sense. And city council is allowing this and they're encouraging this. And how is that benefiting you? And all it does is it raise your cost of living. And that's not okay, because everybody, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, see the cost of living rising. Whether you want to blame this person or that person or whoever on the federal level, it doesn't matter, that we've got poor policies right here in our city that are being pushed and not addressed by our city council, that are making things more expensive right here. Right here. Got a couple of comments. Let's pop those up and address those. Let's see, somebody commented here. Okay. Miss McKnight says, you like my website? Thank you very much. I work diligently on it. I appreciate it. I want to add a couple things to it, but I appreciate that you think that it looks good. Thank you. You guys, please go on my website, volunteer, so that we can help get this community first independent line on the ballot. It's not about your party. It doesn't matter what party you are in. You can help. If you're Democrat, Republican, independent, conservative, working families, non-registered, it doesn't matter. You can help volunteer with my campaign if you see what's going on in our city and you're tired of it. Because it's going to be up to us to unite together. We're not going to agree on everything. We're not going to agree on federal policy on everything. We're not going to agree on state policy on everything. But one thing that we can agree on is the schools are trash, the crime is crazy, and what we've got going on in the economic development is not sustainable, because who's qualifying for the majority of the jobs that are coming here? Nobody. And that's a sad thing, because all of the jobs that are coming here are for people that don't have the education from here in our area, because we just do not have that quality of education. And if we want people to be able to work, we have to give them the opportunity to thrive. We have to create an environment that is actually uplifting and encouraging of small businesses and entrepreneurs. We have to create an environment where the students and the youth are educated and our communities are educated on the jobs that are coming out, that are willing to come here, and that we train them up in the way that is right so that they can get those positions. There should be no companies coming here that aren't hiring people from in our city. That's crazy. I know everybody's like, oh, well, we can just bring people from other places. I'm not trying to hear nothing about bringing nobody from no other places. Because what about our actual community members? Should they be forgotten? Should you be forgotten because they want to prioritize people from other side of the country or stuff like that and try to bring them here? That's not my goal. My goal is to represent you. It's to focus on our citizens that are here, the citizens that have been here historically here, that have lived here all of their lives, and the people that have lived here, started families here, and actually live here now. Not trying to pull somebody from across the country, okay? I believe that our priorities in Rochester should be on Rochesterians, not on somebody from the Southwest, Midwest, down South, wherever, okay? I'm not trying to represent anywhere else except our city. That's what I want to represent, because I believe in you. And I believe that you deserve better, that we deserve better, and you matter to me. So please help out, help us collect signatures to get our independent line called the Community First Line on the ballot this year. You can go on my website, Marcus4Rochester.com. That's Marcus4Rochester.com. And you can volunteer right there, right on the website. It's real simple, like 2 clicks, and you can volunteer. You can also donate right on my website. Whatever you can, $25, $250, $1,000 if you got it, or anything in between. But we need donations and we need volunteers to make this happen. I know you guys see what's going on in our community and you don't like it, because I know I don't like it. And I talk to many of you guys, and I've talked to family members and friends and people that completely disagree with me on other types of politics. But we share one common concern: local politics and how that matters. I might not agree with you on many things. You know, I might not agree with you on pineapple on pizza. But the fact of the matter is we can all agree that our city council is supposed to represent us as a community and as a city. And right now, they are not doing that. We got a couple of comments here. Okay, David says that he will sign up to volunteer and donate. Thank you, David. I appreciate you. Let's see what else we got. Okay, Dynamite. Oh, somebody else said they like my website too. Sorry if I'm not able to put all of these comments up there at one time. There's like something blocking it, so I can't see them all at one time. But I appreciate you guys. So please share this link and get it out there. Share it to your page, share it to your friend's page. You share it everywhere and anywhere. Because the only way for us to restore Rochester is to restore opportunity. And to restore opportunity, we have to return focus on our citizens here that live in Rochester right now. Not the people that might come here tomorrow or 5 years from now, the people that live in our city right now. I know you guys have seen many construction projects across the city, and many people have called me and reached out to me in reference to many of these projects. And they're like, why are they doing this? This is making our life more complicated. I know. I hear you. If it was up to me, I would not be authorizing those programs that they're doing to do all of this crazy construction, which is making life more difficult for our citizens. I hear you. I 100% hear you. And it's a wonderment that city council just clearly doesn't care about you. They've got their own agenda. I encourage you, go read the city's 2034 plan. It's bananas. It's mind boggling. And it shows exactly how much they don't care about you. It is a guide on how to displace the majority of the people in the city and try to bring in people from other parts of the country to our city and just say, forget everybody. Now, on that note, I'd address the issue with the closing of the inner loop and the filling in of the interloop. I'm going to specifically talk about the north side, okay, over there by Scio and stuff like that. Do you know that Scio is not just a middle-class neighborhood, it's a largely impoverished neighborhood? Do you know that even in that fact that it is a largely impoverished neighborhood, many people own their homes there? There are homes there that people have owned for 2-3 generations. There are new homeowners that have owned their homes for 15, 20 years. But if they fill in the interloop right there, it's going to increase the cost of their houses by an astronomical amount. Because I guarantee you, when they fill that in, they're going to put new development there. They're not just going to put a park. They're just not going to put just grass, like they're going to build buildings and stuff there, which will then vicariously raise the property values of the other homes in the area, which will now mean that people's assessments are going to skyrocket, which means that their taxes are going to be unaffordable. It also means that the rental prices are going to go up. So I asked the people on city council, I said, you guys, I said, well, this is going to affect tens of thousands of people that live in that little area right there. And I said, well, what's going to happen to those people? Nobody had an answer. Nobody cared. Nobody even thought about it because it doesn't matter, because they get kickbacks off of doing these types of construction projects. But nobody's thinking about you. But they're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about their own wallets. They're thinking about the future of their children, but forget your children. Forget your friends in your neighborhood. They don't matter to them. It's very clear, but you matter to me. And that's why I'm fighting so hard. Because this is ridiculous. You mean you're just going to completely ignore about 10,000 people whose lives you're going to change forever? Now, some people will be able to take a benefit away from that, but the vast majority will not. And that's something that we need to have a serious conversation about. They won't talk about it. Have they had any real serious meetings about that at city council this whole time? They've had a couple of small, we're going to have a development meeting or whatever the case is, blah, blah, blah. Did you poll the people in the city and see if they wanted that? You had to put the Police Accountability Board on the ballot. Maybe you should put filling the inner loop in on the ballot. I believe that the interloop being filled in over there should be on a ballot for the people in that district. That doesn't make any sense, because you're going to be changing these people's lives. I say the same thing about the Bull's Head project over here on the Southwest. The Bull's Head project is going to displace thousands of people. But nobody wants to talk about that. They've already displaced hundreds with this eminent domain claim, which is unconstitutional, okay, that our city council put into effect. And people complain about other branches of the government and stuff being totalitarian and authoritarian. Here in our backyard, our city council is forcing people to sell their land because they want to redevelop the area. Now, you make that make sense to me. You tell me that that's not authoritarianism at its maximum. This is serious. And then you want to talk about authoritarianism? They got it on the East End where they got it blocked off, and you got to show your ID to get into a city neighborhood and then get patted down. Like this is freaking the German, and under Germany, Nazi Germany. Like, is this what we're doing right now? Like, and nobody's protesting this. It's boggling my mind. I've spoken about this many times to city council, to the mayor, okay, on my social media and stuff like this. It's not okay. But we've got authoritarianism right here at home, and that needs to be addressed. But the news and the social media and everything else has you distracted from what's going on locally. We need to focus locally. And that's why I'm pushing very hard for this community first independent line, because it's not about the party that you're in. It's about uniting everybody in our community together so that we can address the issues right here in our own city, because they're not getting addressed. And it's clear city council doesn't care about us, that we don't matter to them. So what this I said I wouldn't post anything about, I wouldn't put anybody's comments up about federal and international stuff, but this is true. It is under the Agenda 21. I wouldn't say the New World Order, but you can say the UN or whatever the case is, because it is the UN. You can look it up. C40 cities is another thing I'd encourage you to look up. 15-minute cities is also another thing I'd encourage you to look up. It's all part of this grand design that's being pushed. But again, where we can effectuate stuff is here on the local level. But it does help when you're knowledgeable about those other areas I just mentioned. So please check them out. Let's see. Kevin says something. Kevin brings up a very good point, you guys. I will be at Speak to Council this Thursday evening. It's at 6 p.m. So if you would like to join me, please come out to Speak to Council, and you can meet me there. You can help support me in talking to City Council. And if you want to speak to City Council yourself, which is something I always encourage, you can sign up, but you got to sign up before that evening. So you got to call City Council before 5 p.m. Thursday, okay? And you can do that anytime, Monday through Thursday. Just call them before 5, before that day, so you can sign up to speak if you want to speak. If you're not confident in speaking, or you just want to come support me and what I'm doing, just come on down. You don't even have to call to set that up, okay? But please, I encourage you also, do volunteer on my website, Marcus4Rochester.com, because the only way to make this real difference in our city is going to be if we unite, no matter what our background is, no matter what our religion is, no matter what we believe, what we think of should be at home, but what we see is a commonality between each other, because we're never all going to agree on everything. But things like crime, education, housing, and economic development, those are the things that we can all agree on, which are supposed to be the main focus of local government. And right now it's clear that it's not. If we have all of those three things, all four of those things addressed, then we won't really have any issues. We'll be able to thrive together, but we've got to unite to make that happen. So I need your help to collect the signatures, help me make calls and collect the signatures to get on the ballot on this community first line, because this is a new line we're working to create, that it won't matter what party you're in. It just matters that you care about our community, because it's time for us to unite together, because it's clear that City Council is working their best to stifle our success and our opportunity. They are legitimately stealing away our opportunities and the opportunity to thrive in a future for the children every single day by creating faulty priorities. and we deserve better. And I believe in you, and I believe in us. I believe that if we unite together, can overcome this horrendous evil that we see in local politics right now. Because it's been this way for decades on a slow decline in our city. The drugs are more prevalent than ever. Human trafficking is abysmal in our city and nobody addresses it at all. Look at all of the missing children. Nobody even talks about the missing children. Nobody. It's crazy. Every day there are children going missing in our city. And then they're like, oh, well, some of them ran away or whatever the case is. They're running away and they have no social media presence. Whose face are you playing in? Not in this day and age. That's not what's happening. Most of these children are being human trafficked, either for sex trafficking, as drug mules, or even for organ harvesting and blood harvesting. But we can't talk about that. They don't want to talk about that. They don't even want to address that. How come there is no task force to address the missing people in our city right now? As city council, I would push for that. I'd also work to make it so that we can actually encourage our youth to engage more and be more athletic, but not just that, see that there is hope for a better future. It's important that we instill in our youth that they have a mindset that allows them not just to grow, but to thrive. And that's not what's being given by the schools right now. You know, there's a lot of talk about football and basketball and stuff like that, but there aren't a lot of serious programs for other sports and athletics in our city. And we can definitely take the opportunity and harness those and start the kids when they're young. 5, 6, we should be getting them into programs, self-defense, acrobatics or dance or whatever the case is, chess, it doesn't matter, what mental or scholastic achievement. We need to be fostering all of these things, but that's not what's happening on city council right now because they're not prioritizing the benefit of our citizens. This is serious. Let's see, we got another comment. David says exactly 100%. These are serious issues that we can easily address. I've got a whole plan for it. I'm going to do a whole video on it later, addressing what I was just talking about. But I'm just putting that out there. Like, I know you see it and you know it too. If we start to train the children up right, they're going to do good. We see all of this issues with the stealing of the cars and the breaking into buildings and stuff like that in the businesses and stuff like that. But we see that and we ask ourselves why. And then they interview the kids and they say, well, why did you do that? And they're like, because I can. And because I'm not going to jail. You know, I mean, it is what it is. They're telling you what it is. So all of this extra stuff, this poofy stuff, oh, well, you know, it's because they don't have a this, or they don't have a that. No, it's because there's no structure. We talked about that earlier. We need to incentivize whole families. We need to make sure that there are fathers in the home. And we can do this by setting out priorities that encourage that from city council. Is city council doing that? Absolutely not. They don't care. Doesn't matter to them. It's not a big deal. But it matters to us in the community when we see these issues. But these youth don't see any opportunity for the future because it's been stolen away by city council. Because city council doesn't care. They don't matter to city council. They won't even address any of the issues. But this is part of the big problem that we're seeing every single day. Why aren't they addressing it? You have to ask yourself. And when you start to ask yourself those questions, you have to only come to one conclusion. And that's that we don't matter to them. And that's why I'm pushing for this community first independent line, because you matter to me. I believe that we need to reinstill hope in our community. And we can do that by pushing for opportunity in our community, for individuals to come together, to unite, and to thrive. That's how we do it. That's how we push our city forward. That's how we uplift all of our citizens, not just some. not just developers, not just the wealthy, all of our citizens, because we all deserve opportunity. But when it's stolen away by faulty priorities, by a greedy city council that only prioritizes what's politically expedient and what helps their benefactors or their own pockets, it goes to show you that we deserve better. So I encourage you, go to my website, please volunteer, help me collect the signatures that we need to get on the ballot. And you can also volunteer to make phone calls. We need people to help collect signatures and people to make phone calls. It doesn't matter what party you're in, Democrat, Republican, independent, non-registered, as long as you're registered to vote, you can help. And I need your help because this isn't about me, it's about our community. It's about the need to unite for our community so that we can have a better future for everybody. There's real opportunity this year, real opportunity to make a difference. And I know all of you have been saying, oh, everything is terrible. There's nothing that's going to make any change. We can make the change, you guys, but it's got to be up to us. We have to unite and we have to do it now. There is no time in the future. Now is the time for us to come together and unite. Now is the time to make the change that we want to see. That's why I'm running, because our city matters and you matter to me. I'd be nowhere else in the world for thousands. I want to be here because this is the community that I love. This is the community that matters to me. And this is the community that I care about, and I see myself growing up in the future and raising a family here. I want our city to flourish, but not just for some, for everyone. And we can make that difference together. But I need your help. It only comes from your help and your assistance. I can't do it alone, but I am here to help guide us down this path of renewal and restoration because I know that we can do it. It's not a thought or a doubt in my mind that we can improve our city for all of our residents. No matter what their background is, no matter what their individual thoughts are, it's about the commonalities that we have together. It's about creating hope for our future, which is so desperately needed in a time of despair and fear. I want everybody to share the same opportunities and be able to grow. Right now, we see the deterioration of not just the schools, of the communities and the neighborhoods all over. We see vacant lots and trash and garbage everywhere. We see a school system that is corrupt and devoid of any focus and completely lacking morals and values. This is something that's far too common. This is something that is causing actual chaos in our streets. Because it's like broken windows theories, if you've ever heard of it before. The theory is broken windows is that if one small thing is a situation and it's not addressed early, then everything else will decay. And that's exactly what's happened. It started with the school district, and because the education system started failing, more and more businesses started to move out. And I'm not talking about the industries and stuff like that. I'm talking about small businesses, because they didn't have the quality of employees that they can hire because the education system was failing. And because the city has continued to make unfriendly business practices far too common. All of the red tape that's in our city right now, all of the ridiculous ordinances and the horrible restrictions that have been put in place over the years are not only unfriendly to small businesses and developers alike, but also to anybody that just wants to fix their house a little bit or do something to their house to improve it. And these things need to be addressed. These regulations in our city need to be addressed. We need a lot of deregulation in our city, which some of you might think of as rezoning and stuff like that. That needs to happen because we need to address these issues from a community standpoint, not from some ivory tower, which is very clearly what they're operating from on city council right now. This is real life. And the things that happen on city council have real everyday impacts on our citizens. The things that they don't do that they should do have real everyday implications and impacts on our citizens. But that's why I'm running, to change all of that, to restore faith and to restore hope in our community. Because I believe in you. I believe in our city. And I want to show everyone that we can achieve, and we don't need to ship in people from other parts of the country, that we can thrive together and build not only just an opportunity economy here locally, but build something that is self-sufficient. That's what our food should be from here in the local area, our everything, that we should get the majority of the things that we need in our local area. We should be able to be so self-sufficient, whether it comes to energy, whether it comes to everyday necessities like clothes and food. All of that stuff should be able to be made here in our city or right in our backyard. We need to be as self-sufficient and self-sustaining as possible to chart forward a better future for all of our citizens. We need to be able to function almost autonomously like a city state. Rochester should be the best state, the best city in all of New York State. That's my dream. That's my vision for Rochester. And to build it with our actual citizens, not with imported people from other parts of the country or the world for that matter. Because the people that live here, you matter. You matter to me. But it's clear that you're not a priority to our city council. They take, and what do they give? To 2 or 3 nonprofits that are run by their cousins or people that have donated to their campaigns. I was at a city council public hearing. They don't do those very often, but it's an election year. So of course, 2 out of the 3 people that are running for re-election want to put forward a hearing all of the sudden on issues. But in that hearing, I heard something that was very, I want to say enlightening, but maybe enlightening is a little too sweet to put it that way. Concerning is not quite right either. But what I heard was them talking about putting money into the same nonprofits that put money into their campaigns. Somebody talk to me now, okay? Somebody tell me that that's right, that sounds justified. It doesn't. It doesn't. That sounds like a kickback to me. That sounds straight like a kickback. Some people might even call that corruption. I don't know if it's corruption, but it's definitely a kickback, and it's definitely unseemly, and it's definitely unsightly. So if it sounds like a duck, quacks like a duck, looks like a duck, goes in the water like a duck, I mean, has webbed feet like a duck, seems pretty likely it's a duck. So, and I'm just saying, this is a type of poor prioritization, like I believe it was David who said earlier on the comments, where's all the money? No, I think that was Miss McKnight. Where's all the money going? Where's all the money going that's going to these community organizations and stuff, and we don't see it get to the community? It's crazy. I remember, and I'm not going to call anybody out on this stream today, but I remember there was a report last year that ended up coming out about one of the bigger nonprofits here that distributes all of the money to the different smaller nonprofits and stuff like that. They said that all of the money that they get, the largest portion of it goes to administrative and executive fees and costs like that. And less than 7% actually gets down to the ground level of the money that is given by the government. Can you make that make sense to me? How does that show that that is the best interest of our community at hand? I'm not saying that there's malfeasance. I'm just saying if the vast majority of the money that's supposed to help the homeless or supposed to help the people that need housing isn't getting to the people that need housing or to the homeless or to the people that are food insecure, and that's where the money's supposed to be going, or to lower gun crime, which is what like they like to scream gun crime all the time, or to address gun crime, and it's all going to administrative fees and stuff like that. Maybe, maybe something isn't right. Just maybe. Maybe we as the community need to demand, I'd say accountability. You guys know I'm big on accountability for those type of things. But I mean, at least some transparency, because it's not like it's their own money. That's community money that's supposed to go to specific nonprofits. These aren't for-profit businesses that these monies are going to. Unless you're talking about some of the developers, and then there are some questions there as well. But this is serious. And it's just another small example of how the real issues that we have never get addressed, and all the money always just kind of flutters away. I mean, let's take our roads, for example. If we were to take our roads in Rochester, look at how terrible they are. But they're always being fixed. But I named all the potholes on my street. Jerry, Terry, Lewis, and Sarah, the ones right outside my house. I give them birthdays because they always come back. If the same potholes are always coming back on my street, then clearly it's how they're being repaired or how the streets are being taken care of, right? Like I'm sure you guys know in your neighborhoods, the same potholes seem to always be coming back no matter how many times they redo the road. How is that even possible? Something's not right here. And I look at it like this: as far as solutions go, we've got all of these great, what do you call them? I guess universities and colleges and stuff right around here. We've got Cornell not too far from here. U of R is right here. RIT is right here. We've got SUNY Brockport, and MCC is one of the best community colleges in the country. We've got all of these schools right around here. You mean to tell me that we can't pick from the top minds at these schools to say, let's launch an X Prize or something for $10,000 for somebody to come up with a real solid solution for these potholes that we continue to experience in road maintenance issues? I mean, these are the type of things that we need to have conversations about, or should at least be actually discussed by city council, but they're not. You know how much the roads cost us all the time? Now, I'm sure that the roads are something to do with people continuously being employed. So that's why they don't care how bad our roads get. They just keep fixing them and fixing them. Honestly, I believe that a lot of it has to do with programmed obsolescence, where they're just allowing the things to be done in an inferior manner instead of fixing them right the first time, so that they can keep getting the funding over and over and over again. There's this issue in government where if you get money and you don't spend it, the government will take it away and they'll lower your budget next year. So if they keep doing all of this money for this road work and road maintenance, they'll continue to get that money. Maybe that's the problem. I'm not saying it's the problem, but I'm saying maybe we need to analyze these things. Maybe we should have an open conversation about that. I mean, I like construction and engineering and stuff, so I watch a lot of the videos on construction and stuff like that. And I've watched a lot of the different videos from places like the Netherlands, and they have their own issues with their roads and stuff like that, but their roads are much better than ours. You know, Sweden, Norway, because they'll be like, oh, well, the salt is the problem. Sweden and Norway get more snow than we do. What's the problem? You know what I'm saying? So you've got Japan, their roadways are fine. And they've got very serious snow in the northern areas. What's up with that? Like, there's all these other countries that everybody says is so much better than America, and we should look to them for guidance, and we are not even considering the roads. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's these small things that show that they are not interested in really finding long-term solutions. So when you see the roads and the roads are jacked up, understand that's how they want the roads to be, because that's how they care about everything. Not at all. Not at all. They don't care about it. They just want to keep the money flowing in and not actually fully address the needs and concerns of the citizens. Think about how many wheel alignments, tires that have been messed up. My cousin a couple of years ago bust his whole axle out of his car when they had that there's this section of road right in front of the I don't know if that's Ford Street or what that's called right there, but in front of the 911 center, there's a huge pothole there that had developed, that they had refused, many people would call, but they had refused to fix it. And he busts his whole axle off his car. And that's not an uncommon story in Rochester. It happens over and over again. Now, all of a sudden, it's an election year and everybody's like, oh, we should do something about the roads. You've been in office 4 years. Why haven't you done something about the roads? Now you're just putting a patch over it. That's not even a long-term solution. Right up the street from my house, speaking of the roads, and I'm going to get off this subject, but this shows you how trash these people are. Up the street from my house, and on my street too, they did this ridiculous nonsense where they repaved the streets, but they didn't actually repave the streets. What they did was they dug up all of the tar and everything, the top layer and everything, and then they put gravel down. Gravel, just gravel. Do you think that they compacted that gravel? Absolutely not. No steam engine, no steamroller, no nothing. None of those little tampers that tamps down all the gravel. None of that. They just threw it down on the ground, put a sign up, said, go slow, 15, 20 miles an hour, loose gravel. And they just allowed the citizens to continue to drive on it for months and months and months until it got tamped down by the vehicles. In the meantime, popping rocks up and out everywhere, damaging people's finishes and undercarriages on their vehicles and stuff like that. We can't even talk about that though. But messing other stuff up because they didn't want to do the job right the first time. You're going to put down gravel, tamp the gravel down at least. And then you don't put any blacktop on it? Is this how we're operating? Halfway, half measures? But this shows you exactly what I'm saying this whole time, that we deserve better. And that's why I encourage you. I need your help to make things better in our city, to fight for you, to fight for our future. I need your help. I'm not able to do this alone. You know, I might be magical, mystical, spiritual, and biblical, okay? But I'm not able to do this alone. I need your assistance. Please go to my website and volunteer. Help me collect the signatures that I need to make this new community first line. We've only got a couple of weeks left, and I need your help. Go to my website, volunteer to collect signatures or to make phone calls, whatever you can do. It's Marcus, the number 4Rochester.com. That's Marcus, the number 4Rochester.com. And you can volunteer right on there. It's real simple, a couple of clicks, and you got it. And I'll reach out to you. You can also donate on there. I do need your donations as well, because you see the horrible, evil machine that we are up against, because it's very clear that they look out for their own, and any candidates that really care about our community, they're going to do everything that they can to prevent them from getting to represent us. And I don't give a flying monkey's uncle. I'm going to fight hard regardless, because you deserve better. Okay. And we deserve real representation, real leadership. But there is no real representation or real leadership now. That's why I'm fighting, and I need your help. Go to my website, volunteer, donate, whatever you can do. Marcus, the number 4Rochester.com, because nothing changes if we don't push to make the change happen ourselves. Nobody is coming down out the sky to save us. It is up to us. And in order for us to do that, we have to unite, no matter our differences. Okay, no matter what we think or whatever, we need to come together on the commonalities in things that we can agree on, which at the base of it, on the city council level of it, are public safety and crime, education and education opportunities, economic development, especially promoting small business and entrepreneurship and job placement, and housing. Above all, the rental costs are out of control and it's getting more expensive for people to live every day. And purchasing a house is almost unobtainable at the prices 150,000 over asking. A house went not too far from here the other day. Crazy, crazy. It was already not affordable to begin with. It was like a house that should have been like $70,000. Like that's the quality of the house, like $70,000, but it was being sold for like 130, and then it went for like almost 300. It was like 270 or something like that, something ridiculous, just completely out of sorts for the neighborhood and the community. But these are things that are not getting addressed here locally by city council. And I know everybody sees it. So please help me fight. Help me make a real difference in our community because it's up to us. Nobody from the outside is coming to save us. Nobody's coming out of the sky to come save us. Nobody's coming out of the ground to come save us. Here I am. Send me. I will stand up. I will speak up, and I won't shut up. And I will definitely take action for our community because that's what I preach every day. That's what I believe in. And many of you guys see me out there. You see me doing the work. You see me putting in the effort in the community. A number of you guys have either worked with me in the past or you've come to my seminars where we do civics education. I teach civics education. For those of you who don't know, I do free classes once or twice a month, and I do constitutional classes as well. These things are important to me. Getting people involved are important to me. Okay. And somebody the other day saw me, and I don't talk about this stuff often, what I do, because I don't do it for any publicity or stuff like that. I was out doing some community work like I do. I was feeding some people and stuff like that. And they were like, "Oh, Marcus, is that you?" Da, 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 da. It's like, yeah. They're like, "Oh, you do this often?" It's like, "Yeah, I do it all the time." They're like, "Well, I don't see you putting any pictures or stuff of it up or whatever the case is." I said, "I don't put pictures up of it." I said, "Because I'm not out here doing it for any type of clout." But you're so used to seeing politicians and people doing these things for clout. And that needs to change too. Either you're doing it as a service and you're doing it as a good work, okay? You gotta stack your stuff up in heaven, right? That's where your rewards are held. Like I'm not doing it for credibility. I'm doing it because it's right, because I'm compelled to do it, you know? And that's what we need is people who do care instead of being snapping pictures, being online I should show you guys my photo dump that I've got from pictures that I've taken over the last couple of years at community events and different things that I'm doing. But it's not for me to go out there and publicize it because I'm not trying to build up off of that stuff. I'm doing it because it's positive. I put a lot of work and effort and stuff into our community because I believe in our community. I believe in our future. It's not just words that I say. I live by what I mean, you know? There's a lot of things like I'm not perfect by any means. I got my own issues and I do my best not to preach about those things that I have issues with. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to be a hypocrite or nothing. So I don't the things that I talk about are all things that I stand on and I stand on that business. I care about our community. I really do. And I care about you as an individual. You matter to me. And I know so many people feel like our elected officials don't care about them, that they're not listening to them. I'm more than willing to listen to you. I listen to people all the time. I'm not hard to contact. You reach out anytime because that's what we need. Elected officials that are going to listen to us and address our concerns. So help me get this independent line that we're calling the Community First line on the ballot this year. I need your help to collect these signatures and make phone calls and get out there to make this happen. We've only got a couple of weeks, you guys. It's only a couple of weeks. So I really need you to sign up on my website. It's Marcus, the number 4 Rochester.com. Marcus, the number 4 Rochester.com. And it's just a couple of clicks. You can click the volunteer link and you can volunteer right there. Bing, bang, boom. Less than 2 minutes, you can sign up. You can also donate right on the website. Just takes a couple of clicks. It's not hard, but we got to put this effort in to make this difference. If you care, you got to start here. That's a good slogan right there. That sounds really good. If you care, start here, you know? Like, but it's for real. It's for real, for real. We got to be the people that actually get active to make a difference. Because nobody is coming. I'm trying to tell you guys, like I very firmly believe this and see it continuously. If we do not get leaders, and I use the term loosely because most of these people out here are not leaders. It's fake. It's a sham. It's a complete fabrication. I was thinking of other words that weren't so pleasant in my head. Um, but it's not real. They're not leaders. They don't care about the community. They play in our face, but they don't have any deliverables when it comes to being in office. It's different if you're making promises and stuff like that. A lot of people make promises when they're running. Okay, I don't want promises. I want real implementable things. Tell me how they're going to be implementable, and we're cool. But most of these people are always promoting stuff that's either one, not feasible, two, not cost effective, or three, just they're blowing smoke completely. And we got people on city council that do that now. Like it's crazy. We deserve so much better. And we've got to build a better future. But to do that, we need to build opportunity. And the only way to get that opportunity is to unite so that we can thrive together. So I encourage you, go to my website, volunteer, donate, do whatever you can, but I need your help to get these signatures. We got about 2.5 weeks to get the rest of these signatures. We need about 2,000 signatures in total. We're on our way there. We're getting there, but I need your help. I'm not able to do it alone. I'm not. I'm a great individual. I am a awesome Marcus. Okay, if you ask me, I'm the best Marcus in the whole world. Nobody can compare. But I'm me. I'm one person. And I'm running for our community. So I need the community's help and the community's support. Many of you approach me and say, "Hey, Marcus, I appreciate you and what you're doing." That means the most to me. First of all, number one, that means the most to me. That encourages me to keep going, even though pushing forward in this crazy political environment is very daunting and can be very how can I say it? Less than positive of an experience. That's the way to put it nicely. So I appreciate all of you that encourage me when I see you guys out on the street. I appreciate those who call me just with voices of support, but now I need your actual help. I need your actual physical help. I need you to help me collect these signatures so we can make this happen. This isn't just about me, it's about all of us. We're creating a movement to push forward the actual needs of our community and address the actual needs of our community. It's a movement to take us forward and to help promote in the future, not just opportunity, but unity. So with that, I'm going to get out of here, you guys. Go to my website, donate, volunteer. Please volunteer, you guys. I know it sounds, to me, and I don't like to ask for things. I don't like to ask for money. I don't like to ask for help or volunteers and stuff like that. But I need you. I need you. I need you because we got to fight for our community together. I'm not able to do it alone. Go to my website, sign up, volunteer, donate, do what you can. We got to make this happen. We only got a couple weeks to get this done. So Marcus, the number 4 Rochester.com. That's Marcus, the number 4 Rochester.com. Let's make this happen. I'll catch you guys later. Remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Be blessed and be well.